Chapter 107, Stone Annihilation Alliance. Stone Annihilation Alliance. An independent alliance. Su Jingxing was in thought. He knew about the independent alliances. Almost every country had them. Stone Annihilation Alliance. This name sounds very domineering too. World Annihilation. Hey, wait a minute. Suddenly, an idea flashed through Su Jingxing's mind. He stared at the words, Stone Annihilation Alliance, and repeated them. Stone Annihilation. Stone Annihilation. Stone Annihilation. Could it be? With these guesses, Su Jingxing, who originally wanted to ignore and close the chat, didn't follow through with the act. Instead, he quickly typed a reply. Stone Annihilation. Destroy the Shi family. Beep beep tilde. The other party replied very quickly. That's right. The members of our alliance have relatives who have been harmed by the Shi family. Some of them are even the only survivors. We know that relying on ourselves, we will never be able to do anything to the Shi family. For this, we joined forces and formed an alliance. The purpose of the Stone Annihilation Alliance is to destroy the Shi family. Legend, you probably have a grudge against the Shi family too. Oh. Do I have a grudge against the Shi family? It could be considered so. However, compared to this, Su Jingxing was more curious about the existence of this Stone Annihilation Alliance. There were actually people secretly working together to destroy the Shi family. Regardless of whether this goal could be achieved, their courage was commendable. It was indeed difficult to destroy the Shi family with just one or two people. Even if a third-grade big shot was here, he could not guarantee that he would not miss a single one. This was because the Shi family was a martial arts family with a history of hundreds of years. They had many descendants in the direct and collateral lines of descendants. Qinghai City was just their headquarters. In the various functional towns, other cities, and even prefecture cities, there were active Shi family members. Annihilating the Shi family could only be said to be eliminating the main members. At most, wiping out their local members. Those who were scattered outside had to be given up. This Stone Annihilation Alliance wishes to destroy the Shi family. Were they very powerful? Even killing the local Shi family members in Qinghai City alone would still be quite difficult. At this thought, Su Jingxing typed his reply. Do you have many people? Beep beep tilde. We do have quite a lot of people, but we don't have many martial artists. By the way, Legend, were you the one who rescued those girls who were captured by the Shi family? Beep beep tilde. I mean, did you do so personally? Beep beep tilde. Sorry, I'm not doubting you. I'm just curious whether you and the 4th grade expert are the same person. Beep beep tilde. Hoo, did I offend you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I've always been bad with my words. I didn't know why I said that. Beep beep tilde. Hoo, Legend, if you want to blame someone, blame me. Don't vent your anger on our alliance. We are all pitiful people. We were forced into a corner by the Shi family, so we chose to form an alliance and depend on one another. No more. Su Jingxing was enjoying the show. Why did this person suddenly stop? Did the internet get cut off, or was this person called away? Or perhaps this person realized that he or she had revealed too much information and hurriedly escaped. Judging from the language, this person who suddenly contacted him was probably an innocent young girl. Of course, it could also be a male pretending to be a female. No matter who it was, the person was from the Stone Annihilation Alliance for sure. They had many people, but not many martial artists. From this description, one could determine that the Stone Annihilation Alliance might be quite influential, but their strength should be ordinary. No matter how many ordinary people there were, since there were not many martial artists, while they could deal with ordinary people, destroying the Shi family would be expecting too much. Beep beep tilde. The notification sounded again. Greetings, Senior. I'm sorry that our little sister's words were inappropriate and offended you. If possible, please send an account number to us and we will transfer you 100 million great $. We know that this amount of money is nothing to you, but it is a token of our sincerity. We hope that you can forgive us. Oh, another person now. Su Jingxing's interest was piqued. He read through the content, thought about it, and typed a reply. On the other side, in a spacious office with windows that were tightly covered. Hoo. What do I do? Why do I have such a stupid mouth? Why do I never learn? I dare to say anything. It's over now. A 16-year-old girl with a bowl cut and a round face sat on a chair and wailed with a mournful expression. Enough. Beside her was an oval-faced woman with fair skin. Her long hair was tied into a ponytail and she had a heroic bearing. She consoled helplessly, "It has already happened. Frustration and regret are useless. What we need to do now is think of a way to make up for it." The round-faced girl rubbed her eyes and said with a sobbing tone, "Sister Qian, do you think the legend will forgive me? If he really is the fourth-grade expert who broke into the Shi family's secret base at Turtleback Mountain alone, killed all the guards, and rescued Han Min and the others, he would not be so petty as to get angry with you because of a few unintentional words." In a corner of the office, a middle-aged man with a calm demeanor and a shocking scar on his right face said in a deep voice. "Yes, given that Big Shot's character, how could he be so petty?" A young man with messy hair rubbed his hands and said excitedly, "That expert is simply too suave. Not only is he suave, he's also cool. He actually destroyed a secret base of the Shi family. We never dared to imagine such a thing, yet he accomplished it alone. He's simply too cool." "That's right. Our alliance has been established for almost 5 years, but we've always been fighting small battles, only daring to cause trouble for the Shi family in business." Not far away from the young man, was a woman with completely white hair but a face that was still youthful. She looked exhausted and spoke softly. "It's not that we're useless. Yajie, don't always deny yourself. Who here doesn't know how powerful the Shi family is? In the entire Qinghe city, other than the Li family who dares to speak out and is stronger than them, which other person or faction dares to say that they can defeat the Shi family?" A man with a full beard said seriously, "We've already agreed from the start that we definitely must not make unnecessary sacrifices. Targeting the businesses was the countermeasure we've discussed from the start. As long as we have enough money, so what if we lack martial artists? We can totally hire a team of assassins to find trouble with the Shi family." "That's right. We don't ask to destroy the Shi family in one go. As long as we still have people alive and we continue to earn money and hire killers, the Shi family will never be at peace." "That's true, but the key is that the amount of money needed to hire an assassin group is massive. Which professional assassin would dare to accept the task without $10 billion? I'm just afraid that before we earn enough money, we will be discovered by the Shi family and wiped out. The last time, Little Bing went to seek revenge on Shi Yankang in her recklessness. She almost exposed our whereabouts and allowed the Shi family to find us." "I'm sorry." The woman called Little Bing lowered her head and spoke softly. "Little Bing, I'm not looking for trouble for no reason. I'm just trying to use this as an example to explain the situation to everyone. The route was earning $10 billion, and then looking for an assassin team to exterminate the Shi family has now been proven wrong." The man who spoke said with a serious expression. The entire office fell silent. That's right, they had long discovered this problem. However, they had no choice. Without relying on earning money to hire assassins and going to the Shi family by themselves was completely courting death. Every person to go would die. It would be a meaningless sacrifice. This had happened several times at the beginning of the Stone Annihilation Alliance's establishment. Thus, they agreed not to directly cause trouble for the Shi family, only going by the side or the back. The best method was to hire a group of assassins. The assassins only cared about money. As long as they had enough money, they would even dare to assassinate the Li family, the #1 martial arts family in Qinghe City, let alone the Shi family. The problem was that the Shi family was not an ordinary faction. They were a well-known martial arts family with 100 years of history. If they wished to hire assassins to deal with the Shi family, the price would be extremely high. At least 10 billion Great Yu dollars. Yu Nation was one of the safest countries on Earth Star. As such, the purchasing power of their currency, Great Yu dollars, was very powerful. Even a business under the Li family would take 2 to 3 years to make $10 billion of profit. It would take at least a few decades for the Stone Annihilation Alliance to scrape together the amount. Decades. They could wait, but the Shi family already knew of the existence of the Stone Annihilation Alliance and had always wanted to find them and eliminate them. Were they sure they could hold out until then? No one in the office could guarantee this. For this, no one had anything to say. They only felt deeply helpless. The sheer size of the Shi family made people feel helpless and hopeless. Ding! The computer's notification beep sounded. The round-faced girl immediately leaned over. The oval-faced woman also looked nervous. "No need. This is a small matter. It's not offensive. Haha, the legend is the legend. I knew it, why would the legend blame me?" The round-faced girl cheered, clapping her hands as she stood up and walked in circles on the empty space beside her. Feud tilde. The oval-faced woman let out a sigh of relief. Then, she smacked the round-faced girl sulkily. You still dare to speak. Remember, be more mindful of what you say in the future, don't spill everything. Hee, Sister Qian, don't worry. I promise that I'll ask you before I say anything in the future. The round-faced girl hugged the oval-faced woman's shoulder in a fawning manner. Tisk, how many times have you said that? The young man with messy hair rolled his eyes at her. Then, he looked at the oval-faced woman and said excitedly, Qianchen, try asking this IT master if he's the 4th grade expert who destroyed a secret base of the Shi family. No, the bearded man said unhappily, little you, can you not add to the trouble? How can we casually ask such a question? I'm just curious. The young man smiled awkwardly. If the two of them are the same person, that would be even cooler. They would be unbelievably charming. A 4th grade in martial arts, with godly IT skills. If such an expert joins us, then we have a chance of revenge. We don't have to wait decades. As soon as he finished speaking, he looked at everyone in the office and whistled. Hee, don't tell me you people don't have such thoughts. Cough cough. I don't. Don't spout nonsense. Right, when did I say something like that? Quote ellipsis quote. When the others heard this, they all shook their heads and expressed that they were being wronged. Come on. When the young man heard this, he looked at everyone in disdain and grinned. Is it fun to deceive yourself and others? I was wondering why the atmosphere has been so weird for the past 2 days. So you guys were thinking of this idea to attract this 4th grade expert to join us. Hee, you guys are really bold with your ideas, but I'm even bolder. Not only do I want this big shot to join us, I also want to acknowledge him as my master. Tisk. The crowd, who had been embarrassed at first, started jeering when they heard the last sentence. They looked at the young man with disdain. Become his disciple. Wishful thinking. Dream on, no, it's impossible even in a dream. Stop fooling around, the legend has replied again. The round-faced girl suddenly shouted. Do you dare to take a big gamble? The round-faced girl finished reading the contents word by word and asked doubtfully, what does this mean? The oval-faced woman was also puzzled. She typed a reply, you mean? Wiping out the Shi family, of course. Su Jingxing replied, don't all of you have a feud with the Shi family? Do you dare to pay with your lives just to take revenge on the Shi family? Take a big gamble. Beep beep tilde. Legend, do you have any good ideas? Still didn't understand. Su Jingxing pursed his lips and typed a reply. Let me ask, do you people dare to sacrifice yourselves to destroy the Shi family? Yes. That's it. Su Jingxing chuckled and continued to reply, that's good. I have a way to make the Shi family suffer heavy casualties and destroy their foundation. But the risk is huge and you might die any time. Beep beep tilde. Senior, please feel free to speak your mind. From the moment our alliance was established, everyone was prepared to be sacrificed. We just don't want to make unnecessary sacrifices. If we can destroy the Shi family, we are willing to die for it. Gutsy. Su Jingxing smiled and was about to reply when suddenly, more than 10 web pages popped up on his computer. On each web page, a post had popped up forcefully. On them were eye-catching titles. Jin Mushin's treasure is hidden underground of the Sky-Water River bank. Qinghai City's treasure that you don't know about. Shocking. Turns out there is a 100-year-old treasure buried beneath the Qinghai City. Breaking news. Breaking news. A 100-year-old treasure has appeared. Everyone, go and pick up the money. The headlines were very eye-catching and people couldn't wait to click on them. Su Jingxing could not be bothered to discuss a plan with the people of the Stone Annihilation Alliance. He clicked on these posts and quickly read through them. Once he did, he realized that on the southern bank of the Sky-Water River Southern District, under the mud flat, a corrupt official named Jin Mushin had a tomb. Inside the tomb were countless treasures that Jin Mushin had collected when he was alive. Martial arts, money, weapons, jewelry, elixirs. There was all kinds of good stuff. Most importantly, pictures spoke the truth, there were many pictures in the post. In the pictures, a few people had picked up several precious antiques on the mud flat. One of them even picked up a treasure weapon. Although it was a treasure weapon with a chip, it was still a treasure weapon. Even if it was chipped, it was still worth more than $1 million. Apart from this, the post also introduced Jin Mushin's life. This fellow was a high-ranking official of the Changyang prefecture more than 200 years ago. He was most greedy. He had plundered countless treasures when he was still alive, but after his death, they were nowhere to be found. Through the clues, words, and pictures, the post clearly pointed out that the treasure left behind by Jin Mushin was under the mud flat on the bank of the Skywater River. Treasure of a corrupt official. Bullshit, it's clearly a diversion. Regardless of whether the treasures left behind by Jin Mushin were real or not. If this matter was exposed at this time, it would definitely be the Shi family manipulating things from behind the scenes to interfere with public opinion and divert the public's attention. After all, persons born during a yin hour of a yin day of a yin month of a yin year were in the minority. Apart from their parents, friends, and relatives who were concerned about the subsequent developments, the others were basically just here to join in the fun and weren't too serious about it. Treasures were different. According to the leaked information, the tomb left behind by Jin Mushin, a change in the underground water level impacted the treasure chamber and brought the treasures to the surface, mixed in the mud flat. As long as people search the mud, there would be a high chance of picking up treasures. This was a treasure hunt that everyone could participate in. Once the news spread, the entire city would be in an uproar. At that time, no one would have the mood to pay attention to those who were born during a yin hour of a yin day of a yin month of a yin year. Digging for treasures on the mud flat would be the right thing to do. Therefore, Su Jingxing quickly deleted the post and hacked into the back end of the website where the post had appeared. He blocked the related links and keywords and sent a message to the Stone Annihilation Alliance, asking them to mobilize their forces to resolve the spread of television, radio, and newspapers, cutting off the Shi family's counterattack from the source. This was also an opportunity to gauge how much secular capacity the Stone Annihilation Alliance had. They had many people, but not many martial artists. Su Jingxing wanted to see how many people they had and how much power they could unleash. With him controlling the web, the news of the corrupt official's treasure was quickly suppressed. The TV, radio, and newspapers would have to wait. Since the Shi family had launched a counterattack, these channels would not be absent. At night, Su Jingxing was satisfied to discover that the public was still unaware about the corrupt official's treasure. Everyone was still talking about bloodline martial artists and the dangers of being a girl born during a yin hour of a yin day of a yin month of a yin year. Good. Su Jingxing praised and sent a message to the Stone Annihilation Alliance. Ding. A notification sounded in the closed office. The round-faced girl, who was so tired that she had collapsed on the table, subconsciously raised her head to take a look. She immediately cried out in surprise and excitedly said, "The legend has replied, he said that we did a good job." Who tilde? Hearing this, the others who had perked up their ears immediately let out a breath. They recovered significantly from their fatigue. FCK, we threw in almost $200 million. If it doesn't work, we might as well just disband, the messy-haired man sighed. Such a situation must not be made permanent. We used half of our reserves at one go. If we do it again, 5 years of our savings will be gone. The bearded man sighed. We can earn more money. At most, it will take us some time. Most importantly, for this operation, we have mobilized all the people we can mobilize. These people have basically been exposed now, and we will face the Shi family's revenge at any time. The oval-faced woman said in a deep voice, what to do next must be decided immediately. Yes, that's the most important. Does the legend have any further instructions? The man with messy hair asked nervously. Not yet. The round-faced girl shook her head. Then, she whispered, do you want me to ask? Let me. The oval-faced woman stood up and walked forward. Ding. A notification sounded. The round-faced girl turned and gaped. What's wrong? The oval-faced woman who walked over was puzzled. When she saw the contents of the chat box on the computer screen, her expression also changed. What's wrong? Say something, pressed the messy-haired man. The others also wore grave expressions. They stood up and surrounded the screen. The oval-faced woman took a deep breath and said, he wants us to kill Shi Yankang. What? Exclamations rose from the crowd. What does he mean? What does this fourth-grade big shot mean? Is he telling us to tempt fate? In order to cooperate with him, we have already exposed most of our people. Now that these people are facing the threat of being killed at any time, he still wants us to kill Shi Yankang. What is the meaning of this? Someone jumped up and shouted angrily. That's right. Shi Yankang is a 6th-grade martial artist, and he has a group of martial artists in the lower ranks following him every day. We only have one 6th-grade martial artist. Are we going to let Elder Huang perish with Shi Yankang for him? I don't think it's that simple. This 4th-grade expert must have other intentions. Other intentions? What other intentions? He just wants to send us to our doom and use our lives to destroy some of the sideline characters of the Shi family so that he can watch the show from the side. That's too much. If he's here to watch the show, would he expose the secret of the Shi family's bloodline? And even destroy a base of theirs outside the city? Hey, whether he's the one who destroyed the secret base still needs to be deliberated. Enough. A loud roar resounded through the office, suppressing everyone's clamors. The man with a hideous scar on his face shouted with a somber look, "Shut up. Look at all of you, look at all of you. He hasn't even told us the exact plan yet, but you all are already so impatient and agitated that you're jumping up and down. If we really take action, wouldn't you all be in chaos?" Silence. The office fell into silence. After being reprimanded, some people felt ashamed, while others remained indignant. When the oval-faced woman, the scarred man, and the bearded man saw this, they couldn't help but sigh. Although they weren't quite a disorderly mob, many people in the alliance could not get anything done. Playing dirty tricks in the dark was no problem, but once they were put in the open to face the Shi family, their true colors were immediately revealed. Fear was understandable, but fear was not an issue either. However, if they were already in a mess before the war even started, what achievements could they talk about? Destroy the Shi family. With such a mentality, it would be better for them to leave Qinghe City as early as possible. I understand everyone's feelings. The oval-faced woman took a deep breath and broke the silence. If you're really afraid, it's not too late to back out now and leave Qinghe City. Sister Qian, that's not what I meant. Do you think that the oath of alliance we issued when we invited you to join us was fake? The oval-faced woman did not wait for the person to speak before she interrupted coldly. To destroy the Shi family, we will not hesitate to die. To destroy the Shi family, we will not hesitate to die. Back then, you shouted the slogan loud and clear. What about now? Have you forgotten about it? Have you completely forgotten about it? The person who spoke blushed and lowered his head, not daring to say anything. The oval-faced woman did not press him any further. She stared at him for a while before retracting her gaze and looking around at the crowd. She raised her voice and said, "All of us are gathered together because we share the same goal of annihilating the Shi family. In order to achieve this goal, we have worked hard for the past 5 years and thought of all sorts of methods. But we are still far from achieving our goal. The reason is that we do not have high-end combat strength and do not have more martial artists in the middle ranks. For that, we choose to endure and wait for an opportunity. Before today, none of us knew how long we'd have to wait. But now he has appeared. A 4th-grade expert is willing to cooperate with us to destroy the Shi family. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If we miss it, it might never come again. Perhaps everyone is curious as to why that 4th-grade expert wanted us to kill Shi Yankang. The reason is simple. He wants us to show proof of our allegiance. That's right, it was a proof of allegiance. Stone Annihilation Alliance, Stone Annihilation Alliance. Yet they hadn't killed a single person from the Shi family, so what kind of alliance was this? Although the events of the day had shown Su Jingxing that the Stone Annihilation Alliance was quite powerful, suppressing public opinion was completely different from killing a direct descendant of the Shi family. Shi Yankang wasn't Shi Jindong who had sought refuge with the Li family. Shi Yankang, who was in his 30s, was the leader of the younger generation of the Shi family. Many of the businesses under the Shi family were managed by him. The person Wan Rong followed when he was alive was Shi Yankang. Through Wan Rong and Ni Renchu's memories, Su Jingxing's understanding of Shi Yankang wasn't 100%, but there was definitely at least 90%. Unlike others, Shi Yankang didn't like money, women, or martial arts. His only hobby was listening to music. Classical music at that. He loved to sit alone in a spacious auditorium and listen to an orchestra play. If they performed well, they would be rewarded handsomely. If not, he would personally strangle and kill one person. If worse, he would strangle and kill another person. Therefore, many people had died in Shi Yankang's hands, and they were all musicians. After strangling them, he would even provide a very high amount of compensation. But since the person was dead, any amount of money would be pointless. Su Jingxing chose him because he wanted to see if the people from the Stone Annihilation Alliance were really not afraid of death. Secondly, he wanted to see if there were any spies planted by the Shi family in the Stone Annihilation Alliance, or if there were people who had already betrayed, or were going to betray them. This was especially important. Only after ensuring that the Stone Annihilation Alliance was clean would Su Jingxing cooperate with them and launch a huge plan against the Shi family. This was also the prerequisite for working with him. If they couldn't even handle a single Shi Yankang, there was no need to talk about anything else. The question was thrown out. Now, it was up to the Stone Annihilation Alliance to respond. Beep beep tilde. A notification sounded. Su Jingxing opened the chat and chuckled. Very good, let me see how you guys will kill Shi Yankang. The Stone Annihilation Alliance had agreed. Furthermore, they were taking action that very night. They planned to intercept Shi Yankang, who was back on the way back to his residence, and kill him in the later half of the night. As an important direct descendant of the Shi family, the Stone Annihilation Alliance had always been watching him. They had long grasped Shi Yankang's whereabouts. They hadn't dared to act previously because they had too many misgivings, especially since they had failed before. If they wanted to kill him now, they could immediately gather their manpower and set up an ambush. They had also chosen the venue and informed Su Jingxing because they wanted him to watch the show live. Su Jingxing gladly accepted it. 2 a.m. Qinghai City, Western District. Beside the bypass highway. On the top of a big tree on a mountain, Su Jingxing stood on a branch and looked at the road with few cars in the distance. Presently, it was deep into the night and a car would only pass by on bypass highway once in a while. The exit of the highway, a junction of 3 roads, was where the Stone Annihilation Alliance would intercept and kill Shi Yankang. Su Jingxing arrived 10 minutes in advance. He activated his night vision and distant vision abilities at the same time, looking into the distance. He realized that a group of people had arrived and were lying in ambush around the 3-way junction. There were people lurking in the flower beds, behind the tourist attractions, on top of buildings, and even in a small river beside the highway. Everyone held different items in their hands. There were sniper rifles, short crossbows, bows, and of course, there were also large sabers, longswords, and other treasure weapons. Dozens of people were lying in ambush in different places, waiting silently. When 3 cars exited the highway and reached the junction. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Under Su Jingxing's gaze, 3 sniper bullets broke the silence and hit the tires. Immediately, the cars lost their balance and rolled in the air after skidding a few meters on the ground. Swish, swish, swish. Almost at the instant the cars began rolling, a dozen arrows with explosives tied to them shot out from the darkness, hitting the cars and triggering explosions. Boom, boom, boom. 3 explosions echoed through the night. At this moment, 7 or 8 figures rushed out from the cars that were in the air. Without waiting for the cars to land, they jumped out ahead of time. People tumbled through the air, or flashed quickly to avoid the exploding and burning cars. Martial artists. Martial artists who were at least in the 7th grade. Among them was the ashen-faced Shi Yankang. A bunch of smelly bugs, courting death. Who? More than 10 crossbows suddenly interrupted Shi Yankang's low roar and shot out from the darkness towards his group. The enraged Shi Yankang had no choice but to shut up and dodge. The same went for the others. The lightness skills and movement techniques they cultivated were not bad, so they were basically able to dodge. Only 2 people were injured by the crossbow arrows that grazed their shoulders and faces. Then, in less than 3 seconds, these 2 people convulsed and foamed at the mouth as they fell to the ground. There's poison. Shi Yankang shouted in a low voice, and his expression turned uglier and uglier. Flames spewed from his eyes as he wiped his hands on his waist. Swish, swish, swish. One by one, darts shot out to attack the dark corners. Ah! Thump! Some people groaned, some fell to the ground, and some died on the spot. The people around Shi Yankang also pulled out their guns and pulled the trigger at the exposed members of the Stone Annihilation Alliance. As they fired, they executed their movement techniques and quickly pounced over. Swish, swish, swish. Bang bang bang. Gunshots rang out and the sound of rushing wind could be heard without end. After throwing the darts, Shi Yankang pulled out 2 short swords and held them in his hands. His body was also like an arrow as he rushed towards the people hiding behind the flower beds. Before he arrived, he swung his short swords and released a sword energy to slice across from a distance. Bang, bang. It was also then that 2 explosions resounded in the air. It was the people behind the flower bed. They had directly thrown bombs at Shi Yankang. Shi Yankang, who was halfway there, wanted to dodge, but it was already too late. He was struck on the spot, and his clothes were torn. There was a wound in his chest that was badly mangled. The skin on half of his face was also rolled up. He was injured. Of course, if it wasn't for the protection of his protective true energy, his consequences wouldn't have been as simple as getting injured. He would have just collapsed and become immobile. Even so, Shi Yankang was furious. Enduring the pain in his body, he rushed in front of the 7 ambushers and brandished his short swords. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. With a flash of sword light, the 7 of them were killed on the spot. Shi Yankang gave a low roar and continued to pounce towards another side where there were people firing at him. Bang bang bang. The protective true energy around his body was struck by the bullet, and sparks flew everywhere as the bullets were repelled. Swish, swish, swish. A dozen crossbow arrows launched themselves at him from the side. Shi Yankang suddenly increased his speed and dodged these arrows. With the short swords in hand, he rushed into the firing crowd. Swoosh. At this moment, a saber suddenly appeared and blocked Shi Yankang's path. Facing his head, it slashed down. It's you. Shi Yankang gritted his teeth and brandished his short swords with both hands to receive the saber. Bang, bang, bang. Saber energy and sword energy collided in a split second, unleashing waves of energy that wreaked havoc in the surroundings and even the ground. The white hair of the old man holding the saber stood out in the night. On his resolute and old face, his gaze was fixed on Shi Yankang. He didn't care about his own safety and began a battle to the death with Shi Yankang using moves that would doom them to the same fate. Finally, with a strange sound, Shi Yankang's 2 short swords stabbed into his shoulders and abdomen, while his saber also chopped off Shi Yankang's head. Thanks for listening. The story continues shortly. This was read to you by Erebus.